Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 10x Health Podcast. I'm your host, Sharda Sriram, Business Technology Strategist. I am delighted to welcome Jaspreet Khokhar to our podcast today. Jaspreet is an IT professional from Philadelphia who brings expertise and extraordinary personal presence to our conversation with his experiences. Earlier this year, he received the incredible gift of a kidney transplant, and I'm grateful he's agreed to share his story with us. Today, we'll explore his powerful transformation journey from the challenges he faced to the hope that carried him through and the new chapter he's now writing. Whether you're facing health challenges or simply want to understand the profound impact of organ donation, Jaspreet's story offers inspiration and valuable insights for us all. Welcome to our podcast, Jaspreet.
Thank you, Sharda, for having me for this segment. And I'm delighted to share my story here. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for having.
Absolutely. Jaspreet, can you walk us through your initial diagnosis? How did you first learn about your kidney condition?
Yeah, I was born with a kidney disease called polycystic kidney, also known as PKD. It is a kind of hereditary in nature. So going back to my early 20s, when my blood pressure started to fluctuate, I had to go to see doctor for checkup. And after reviewing my family history, doctor said, I think we really need to have blood test and ultrasound just to confirm if I have a symptoms of PKD. At that time, the report confirmed that I have PKD, and and at the same time, doctor advised it's not life threatening. I could say that I was aware of this issue, but never thought I had to face all of my kidney issues in my early 40s. My mom and maternal grandmother had a similar problems with the kidney, but both of them encountered during their late 50s, or I can say early 60s. But when I found in 2012 that my kidney function number has breached the standard range, which is like 1.3 creatinine levels and all, I was completely unaware that I would be hitting kidney failure stage in 8 to 9 years, which runs from stage 2 to stage 9.
So, what was your emotional process of coming to terms with needing a kidney transplant since you progressed? It took you 8 to 9 years to progress to stage five, but can you talk us through your emotional process?
Yeah, coming terms to with the kidney transplant, it is often emotional journey, I would say, marked with mix of fear, hope, and acceptance. One of the barriers in my case was of starting late on a kidney transplant was my unacceptability, or me being in a denial mode to the fact that I needed a transplant. It took me almost 6 months to face the truth of kidney failure, even though I was aware of the fact that the kidney functioning, which is also known as GEGFR, needs to be less than 20 to initiate or become eligible for the transplant registration process. So, talking about my initial shock and denial, I was about learning that kidney transplant was both overwhelming and surreal. It was difficult to fully grasp and accept the fact that my kidney function has declined to the point that transplant is the only option for me. Uh, I got to worry about the surgery, finding a donor, and what the life would look like after my transplant. Right, concern about survival, rejection rate, risk of rejection after you get the transplant, uh, and long term outcomes used to give me fear and anxiety. There are moments of grief and loss also in terms of coming up with PKD, which has changed my life altogether because letting go the ability to rely on your natural kidneys and all was a difficult one, but it was necessary part of my transplant process. Seeking and gaining understanding about transplant procedure, donor options, and the life after transplant also helped me in building the confidence and uncertainty that I was facing. In terms of, sometimes I have to rely on emotional support from my family, friends, and others who have experienced similar issues in the past, and sharing my fear and learning from the experiences from the people who had gone through this had helped me lighten up the burden and all. But thanks to the medical advancements, donor generosity, and and chance to have improved quality of life has begun to replace my fear and anxiety. I come to a view that transplant as an opportunity for a new beginning and a hope for a healthier future. And ultimately, I can say that preparing for a transplant has sparked a renewed motivation because started to prioritize emotional well-being and nurture my relationship and all. I continue to seek counseling from the people and all the other support groups as well, and had open conversation with my loved one, which has helped me to make transplant journey feel less isolating. Like,
Thank you for walking us through the process. As we go through this conversation, can you describe the journey from your initial diagnosis to the decision, for transplantation? What were some of the key moments and emotions?
yeah, when I first learned about dialysis and all from Penn Medicine pre-transplant video, I thought it's simple. Maybe because they suggested two options. One is hemodialysis, which cleans your blood at the center thrice a week, and there is a peritoneal dialysis, which you can do from the comfort of home. But I could say simple is a little misleading because peritoneal dialysis means it requires 6 to 8 hours every day, combining with your work full. If you're working full time and your day to day life, you are left with basically no life afterwards, right? You at the end of the day you will have no time and no energy actually. That's when I decided to start the kidney transplant evaluation process. Um, there was main I went to Penn Medicine, which is local to my Philadelphia area. There was no specific reason for me to go to Penn because there are other hospitals like Einstein, Temple, and other in Philadelphia. Just because of the kidney transplant success rate and also the brand name, which led me to go to Penn. Uh, as an immigrant with not having so many members of my family in United States, I relied mainly on my wife, few close friends, and my kids, who are pretty much young at that time. And unfortunately, I could say kidney disease runs in my family, so I did not have a living donor option. My only option was deceased donor. But wait time for the deceased donor kidneys in pretty much in the Philadelphia region is it ranges from 8 to 10 years. That kind of hit me hard. But when I read more and more about dialysis and all, I found survival rate varies with person to person, and also felt like survival rates on dialysis were not guaranteed. Because I used to think that average time one can survive on dialysis is 5 to 6 years only. So my family became my driving strength at that time because my life matters to them more than anybody else. So the only gift that I could give to them at that point was to find different ways to stay alive while we are looking for the donor. At that time, when I was struggling through this, my goal was to see my younger son graduate from college, so that my
Absolutely.
wife don't have to deal with. Would I have to shoulder everything alone? Uh, this journey made me rethink how I want to spend time. So often travel as a family, while some people thought like it was unnecessary, but I saw it as a priceless. I knew once I'm on dialysis, it would limit my energy. So I want to create memories while I could. During the process, I picked up hobbies also, cooking, exploring recipes from different cuisines that brought me joy. Through it all, I can say my family kept me motivated, helped me stay focused on the hope of brighter future despite the challenges I had.
That is very inspiring. As we talk about, understanding all the medical conditions and your preparation, what did you learn about kidney disease that you wish you had known earlier?
I wish I would have known about my kidney disease and its potential impacts in early 40s, because understanding how the disease could progress toward kidney failure and possibility of needing a transplant would have made a big difference. I might have taken some proactive steps to manage my health, like controlling blood pressure that I was proactively managing. But I think I can say maintaining a kidney friendly diet, especially uh, watching potassium and other nutrients that could impact kidneys, would have been more important. While I was working with nephrology, a nephrologist and all, and moreover, I was thinking working with a renal dietitian early would have make a difference as well. Uh, Another factor I was thinking about timing wise, when my kidney started decline, it was a COVID time. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if COVID has impacted my kidneys, or I was asymptomatic, or it was something else. Uh, Looking back, I, I also wish I would have been more aware of sign of kidney function decline, and I would have started planning earlier for eventual need for a transplant, which include mean there are many options which I could explore, looking for a living donor, understanding the transplant process, and building a strong support network. Having this knowledge earlier could have helped me feel more in control and better prepared for the journey ahead.
So, how did you prepare medically for the transplant?
Um, it's a multifaceted process, I could say. I underwent comprehensive health evaluation, which includes series of tests to ensure that I was physically ready for the transplant. It includes blood test, imaging, heart screening, and lung assessment to make sure that your body could handle surgery and recovery. Uh, Managing health condition by keeping blood pressure in control and other condition like heart functioning and diabetes was very crucial, actually, I would say, because it helped reduce the risk of complication during surgery and improve long-term outcomes after the transplant. And in the process, I had to meet with a transplant team. So I met with a team of doctors, includes nephrologist, transplant surgeon, dietitian, social worker, financial coordinator, to discuss the transplant process, recovery, and long-term care. Uh, it helped me understand where they're going to place the kidney and the medication that I would need to take after the transplant, like immunosuppressant, how it could affect my body, and the support system that could help me through the pre and post transplant process. And important thing is financial support, right? To
True.
make sure that your insurance and other financial factor is able to support long term immunosuppressant and post and pre transplant surgery cost and all. Uh, pre- and then it comes to preparing for the transplant care, right? I learned about medication which require lifestyle changes, that I would have follow for the transplant, including managing the potential side effect and preventing, because they're going to prevent the organ rejection. That helped me feel prepared for the life after the surgery as well. And most important thing is you really need a donor, right?
Mhm.
If you are fortunate to have a living donor, you could have coordinated with them and the transplant team to make sure that everything is in place. But I needed a deceased donor. So I joined the transplant list and stay ready for the match. And while you are going through whole thing, managing stress is the important thing, right? I was practicing mindfulness through deep breathing exercises, meditation, daily walks for 30 to 60 minutes, to help me manage the stress and stay calm during this challenging time. Ultimately, I could say both mental and preparation were vital to feel ready for the transplant.
Yeah, I know it does. I guess it is a great combination of fortitude, medical and mental preparation for this process. What advice would you give to someone just starting this journey?
I would say my advice to the patient going through dialysis or people who don't need a dialysis, right, or waiting for a transplant, to find different ways to keep motivated themselves because it's a long journey. It could be the best time to try different things that you always wanted to try for a long time. For example, I'm not a good singer, but I tried recording songs online on various music sites. And also, I started to learn piano during my free time. Singing really helped me calm down and help me focus on key objective and meeting certain goals. Uh, because as like I said, it's a long term process. So it's really important that you really need to have a short term and long term plan. Uh, because let me talk about survival before creating a transplant plan. Survival is more important than transplant because exercising, maintaining a healthy diet that really help you stay on track while you are waiting for the transplant. If you run into one or other heart issues or health issues, I would say you end up losing the chance of getting transplant forever. Uh, because like I said, fear is something which stopped me for getting on a transplant. First and foremost, I could say to get rid of is the fear in your mind because I at initially I was not ready to face my test results. Right. I would say how each test result could change your future action plan is really important. Right. So reactive to active mode. Face your test results. Right. And plan your first 1 to 2 months plan based on the test result. I would say tasks are not difficult, but they are complex. To become a better fighter, you really need to divide complex tasks into 5 to 10 simple tasks that could be achieved before your next test result. And like I said, try to find motivation from different things, right, that you do. Because and one of the things I would say is that how much your life matter to your family. I think when you have answer to this question, you will start to see the results by putting equal effort from your side. Never hesitate to tell anyone that you are in need of kidney donor because spreading the word is equally important. Because never you never know when you can find your mentor who can guide you through the transplant journey, and also you can find a donor as well. So talk to your friends, family, and neighbors, and make use of social media actually to make everybody aware that you really need an organ. You never know when you end up finding a connection with someone who can help and support you through the transplant journey.
So, you talk a lot about family and friends. So, how did your family react and support you through this process?
I would say my family was my backbone throughout the entire transplant journey. We all knew that only solution to my health problem was a transplant surgery, and one thing we could control was finding a donor, and rest we left that to destiny. To increase my chances, I enrolled at multiple transplant centers. Through it all, my family stood by me, unwavering in their support. They were my constant source of inspiration, helping me stay calm, motivated, and even during my toughest moments. Their love and encouragement kept me going, and I couldn't have done without them. Actually,
So true. I know family was your backbone, but you also built a support system around you. So, what role did your support system play in your
they
transplant
played a
journey?
crucial role actually in my transplant journey. They were there for me in the every step. Actually, I would say emotionally, physically, and even practically. From helping for helping me during the research transplant options uh, and to being with my during my doctor appointments as well. Their presence always gave me strength. They listened to my fears, often ready for giving encouragement, and kept me grounded when when the uncertainty felt overwhelming, I would say. Their belief in me and the process kept me motivated, and they helped me to stay positive during my hardest moments. Whether it was helping me to stay calm before surgery or celebrating my milestone after my transplant, my support system was truly my anchor throughout this whole journey. My greatest strength was my wife, who stood by me through thin and thick throughout my transplant journey.
We talked about, PKD running in your family, and you did not have too many options within the family. But obviously, through social media and other channels, you did approach potential living donors. So, how did you go about that process?
Yeah, I mean, talking to living donor is always difficult. I would say I was initially hesitant to approach anyone and ask them to be a living donor because I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable and pressurized into considering such a personal decision. It felt very sensitive to bring up the idea of asking someone for an organ. However, as I read stories about strangers coming forward to donate, it inspired me to take a different approach. I realized that sometimes people are willing to help even when they are not being directly asked. This gave me motivation to talk to my friends, family, and spread the word that I really needed a kidney donor. I made sure to approach uh, the conversation with care and explaining my situation and allowing people to have space to decide without being obligated. Ultimately, having an open conversation with them, those who are close would create more awareness and support, even though it may not end up, it may not result in a living donor.
So, as we talk a lot about organ donation and awareness, there is also a lot of misconceptions, right, about kidney donation. As you go through this process, you've learned quite a bit. Can you help us clear some of those up?
Yeah, there are, I mean, even not, I would say people, even I had misconceptions and myths about kidney donations. I mean, being a donor, right? That could prevent people from registering as an organ donor. As we speak about that, let me address some of the most common ones. While explaining, there are two organizations actually which are involved in the whole process: UNOS and OPTN, which is ensuring fairness and transparency. Uh, so one of the biggest myth in uh, is the belief that registering organ donor basically means doctor won't try as hard to save you in the time of emergency and all. I would say this is completely false because medical professionals are required by law and ethics to do everything possible to save patient life, regardless of their donor status. Right. Um, Organ donation is only considered after all life-saving measures are exhausted and patient is declared deceased or brain dead. Um, and I heard from people like another misconception is that organ donation might conflict with their religious beliefs. Um, but there are nearly all major religions supports organ donation as an act of compassion and generosity. For those unsure, like UNOS, the United Network for Organ Sharing, recommends you can talk to your somebody and clergy a member or reviewing the article on their website, which explain how religious guidance can help family make informed decision during the difficult time. Uh, some people think that organ donation will disfigure the body and interfere with their open casket funeral. But this is not true because the donor are treated with care and procedures are done in a way that preserves the body appearance and all. Um, Many people believe that only perfectly healthy individual can donate, or there is an age limit for the donation. Um, There are myths that medical profession assess potential donors on case by case. I mean, these are the just myths, I would say, but I can say medical professionals assess potential donor on case by case basis because everybody condition is different. All right. Even with the conditions, even with the individual with condition like diabetes, high blood pressure, can often donate. Uh, there is no upper age limits. Uh, Organ from elderly donors can still be viable. And I was reading an article published on Health Resources and Service Administration, and there is a 95-year-old man in United States donated his liver and saved the life, proving that age is not a barrier. Uh, some people think that their family have to bear a financial burden of organ donation. This is incorrect. Because I also learned that all the costs associated with organ donation are covered by recipient's insurance or the transplant system. There is a donor family does not incur any financial responsibility. Uh, One of the other myths that organs are randomly allocated. In reality, allocation is really highly supervised and regulated process, and it's a fair process managed by UNOS and OPTN, or OPTN is Organ Procurement and Transplant Network. UNOS is a non-profit organization which oversees the OPTN under a federal government contract. Together, they maintain a national transplant wait list, which matches the donor to the recipient based on the medical needs, compatibility, and monitor compliance with equitable allocation policies and all. This ensures that organ goes to those who need them the most, regardless of the background or the situation they are in.
So, how can people become more proactive about organ donation? You gave a lot of good information on busting a few myths, but we also need to proactively start having people register for this process.
Yeah, organ donation is a critical issue, actually, I would say, especially when you consider the staggering wait times and sheer number of people in need. I mean, as per the stats available on the various government websites, in year 2024, there are 16,000 plus donors, had led to 32,000 more transplants and all. And you're surprised to hear that more than 100,000 men, women, and children are on the national transplant waiting list. Um, on the same website, you will see that 17 people die each day, waiting for the organ transplant. I mean, one donor can save up to 8 lives and enhance 75 more. Um, and also the stats also says that 46,000 plus transplants were performed in 23. So every 8 minutes, another person is added to the to the transplant waiting list. Uh, like I said, currently the kidney patient often have to wait 5 to 10 years for the deceased donor. With over 100,000 people on the national transplant waiting list, and tragically 17 people die each day waiting for organ, I think there is a urgent need to have proactive efforts in the organ donation. One of the easiest and the most impactful step, I could say, register as an organ to be registered as an organ donor. Uh, that you can do this through your state donor registry or going to DMV to get yourself registered. This this step would actually ensure that you have an intent to donate, is kind of documented, and potentially save up that you can potentially save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of 75 or more. Um, Another thing I would say, take time to learn more about the organ donation process and need for donors and the lives it can transform. Share the information with your friends, family, and like to dispel the common myths and misconceptions that we spoke about, right? Because knowledge empowers people to make informed decisions, and that could lead to increased registrations and all. Uh, and most importantly, discuss your decision to become an organ donor with your loved ones, because clear communication ensures that they understand and respect your wishes when the time comes. Um, because this step is very crucial, I would say, as family member often play a key role in honoring donor's decision. Uh, Most importantly, spreading the word, right? Getting involved in campaigns, events, and organizations that promote organ donation. Volunteer to raise awareness, sharing inspiration stories of donor and recipients, or contribute to the initiative that drive advocacy and education. Uh, Encourage your family and community to become donor by setting example, participate in donation related activities together, inspire others to take action, and and carrying a donor card can also serve as a visible reminder of your commitment. I would say becoming proactive about organ donation starts with small steps, registering, education, inspiring other. It can help bridge the gap with the growing needs for the organ and the lives waiting to be saved.
Thank you. I'm going to, we talked a lot about busting myths, proactively spreading the word, and I'm sure this has really helped you. I want to switch to recovery and life after transplant. So, what is the ongoing care and lifestyle adjustments that you have made post the transplant?
Yeah, after my transplant, the ongoing care and lifestyle adjustments became essential part of my daily routine to protect my health and ensure the success of the transplant. There are few things. First important thing is medication management, because I followed a strict schedule of taking immunosuppressant and other prescribed medication that prevents organ rejection, because missing a dose is not an option. Because one of the thing is that it have the pills that I have to take should be 12 hours apart. So I have to use the pill organization or organizer to stay consistent to ensure that I am taking pills every 12 hours. And then frequent follow up with the transplant team is crucial. This include blood tests to monitor organ function, medication level, and your overall health. Um, when you're taking immunosuppressant, infection prevention is also key, because your immune system get weaker and making you more vulnerable to the infections. So I have to very cautious about hygiene, avoid crowded areas, and ensure that I'm wearing mask. I mean, when I'm walking in the crowded areas and all. And another important thing is avoid buffet. Uh, and if I'm taking food outside food, making sure I'm reheating before eating it. And doctor has advised me to avoid eating cold food out from outside of the house. Maintaining a balanced kidney friendly diet is also equally important. I have focused on eating low sodium, nutrient rich food, and stay hydrated actually, while avoiding certain food that might interfere with my medication. Exercising regularly. Uh, right now, I've incorporated light to moderate exercises like walking or yoga. That is helping me regaining strength and maintain overall health. I'm at the same time I'm being very careful to avoid overexertion and follow my doctor recommendation and follow my body advice as well, like how much I can put stress on my body. uh, Managing stress is also equally important for emotional and physical well-being, like meditation, mindfulness, and spending time with the family has helped me stay energized and all. uh, I have made adjustment to avoid unnecessarily strain on my transplanted kidney, like avoiding over the counter pain painkillers that can harm the kidney. So I didn't take any pain medication until I follow up with my transplant team. And at the same time, I'm keeping myself educated about my condition by checking the labs to ensure that I'm staying on top of it and remain vigilant for any sign of complication such as rejection or infection. So being a proactive has given me a peace of mind and sense of control, I could say.
Absolutely. I'm sure you're also doing follow ups with your doctor and being on top of things. I really want to thank you for sharing your perspective and journey with us and offering very valuable insights to our listeners. Like I said earlier on, whether they are facing similar health challenges or simply want to understand transplant experience better, you have really shared your journey beautifully with us. I want to express my gratitude to our listeners and specifically our guest, Jaspreet, today. Your curiosity and engagement drive this podcast, and I'm excited to continue this journey of exploration and discovery with every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.